Hello everyone, this is Shark Nice, and this is a StarCraft 2 tutorial for the custom game called War of Helm's Deep. And specifically it is the Saruman tutorial, but I'll just quick give a big overview of the entire game if you haven't played the game yet. So basically there are the evil team, which is all of this bottom team, and you have Saruman and his army, and then you have Ugluk, which is this Ultralisk, and his army, and their whole objective is to go through all of this green army, which are the good guys, Rohan, and the elves, which are these blue guys. They have to basically kill all these guys, get to these civilians, and kill the civilians. And once you kill the civilians, and you also have to kill the Theoden, the king, too. Once you kill all of them, you win the game if you're evil. And if you're the good guys, basically you have to stop these guys from doing that, and you have this time limit up here until the riders come and basically save you, and you'll win the game that way. So purple and brown, they're the evil guys, and they get these big spawns right here, all of these guys. And these are just like underlings, like a warrior, axe thrower, warrior, orc. And you basically get unlimited respawns of these. And you can control them using your observer, which is called a palantir. And you just press this mass button and your whole army attacks to where the observer is. And brown has one too. And I guess the evil guys, they also get Lugdush, which is controlled by one person. And he gets some bodyguards too. And then you get some of these captains that spawn here, and brown and purple also get captains that spawn, and they also get these catapults, which are just siege tanks that spawn. So starting with the tutorial specifically for Saruman, basically how I start out is I grab my observer, move it to this wall, this gate, because first you have to kill this gate. These traps are basically unkillable and they do like a ton of damage. But once you kill this gate, they all disappear and you can get through. And the good guys, they can lower and open this, they can open and close this gate so they can like run out and try to kill you. And the best way to kill it, or the fastest way, is to use Grima Wormtongue, which is it's in StarCraft 1 it was a Defiler, in this it's a Infester, but it has this Dark Swarm like in StarCraft 1. And basically what you want to do is put the Dark Swarm right here, get Saruman or some other range like these Elite Urukai, which are Stalkers, and you basically put them under the Dark Swarm so none of these traps damage them, because Dark Swarm only melee and splash damage can injure anything under a Dark Swarm. So you put them there, and then you target fire this main gate, which has a ton of HP. And I'll show you kind of how that's done quick. So this is my vision when I was playing Saruman.
Your forces are under attack.
So I kind of massed there first just to, get my army moving. And there's no problem with just massing constantly because you'll get your guys back. So you kind of want to be constantly doing it.
Your forces are under attack.
See how these traps do a ton of damage to all these guys? Oh, so one thing, when your observer, it has this call siege ladders, but you can only do it once. Right now there's like a glitch in the game that it only lets you do it once, but I'm sure eventually that'll get fixed. And it doesn't let you do it right when the game starts. You gotta wait like a few seconds before you can do it. So once you do that, you get these siege ladders, which are, undeployed. They're just overseers. And you have to move them up to these things, siege ladder attachment points. And you have to move the ones, you can't like move this one over to here. You have to go straight up. So you move it to here, and you move that other one to here, and the other one to here. And a little ladder will form, and then you can move your guys to this ladder, and then they'll climb up to right here, so you can get over the walls that way. but you can't go down the ladder, so you kind of gotta be careful. You don't want to bring like your heroes up there because they won't be able to get down if the gate's not open. So you just gotta be aware of that. So continuing this part, I'll just kind of show you my view. See right here, I'm moving up the ladders. So one thing that the enemies do is they'll get melee units like Gimli. It's not really a melee because it's a flamethrower, but it counts as a melee attack because it attacks stuff touching him. They'll get people like Gimli or Aragorn, which is a zealot, or this Dark Templar Eomer, because they're melee units, and this cat thing. And they'll try to get those in your Dark Swarm and kill you while you're trying to kill the gate. So you gotta defend against that. And in this game, green is really aggressive, and I'll kind of show you how to deal with that. Normally, people aren't that aggressive. Normally, they just kind of try to defend instead of randomly attack. So one thing you can do to that, okay, see, they're trying to be really aggressive because they know if they kill the swarm, it's going to be really hard for me. So Legolas is coming out here because he thinks he's, you know, all tough. So he's target firing my worm. I just do a Dark Swarm so that it didn't die. And see how he can just be in that Dark Swarm without dying, and they're sending all their guys. So Ultralisks are melee too, so it's good to put them there. So I just kind of fight that off. Sometimes you have to do that if the person's... Usually people won't be that aggressive, but as people get better, they're pretty aggressive. Okay, so now you see how Saruman moved up when my army was there. That's like a big problem that you can have, is your heroes will get stuck in this huge swarm of your own dudes, and they'll get pushed where you don't want them to be. You can stop that by just pressing hold position. I have it, the hotkey set to H. So I just pressed H. He stops moving, he doesn't get pushed. You don't need to worry about him accidentally dying up here, which really sucks, and it happens to noobs all the time because you just have to learn how to use hold position. So another thing I also do is I move my tanks. They're actually catapults. I always move them up to like right here, and I also move them up to here. And that way, if any heroes try to like come out and get aggressive, they'll start getting tank shots on them. Tanks do 100 damage, so you know they do pretty good damage. Heroes have a high, like typically have a very high armor. They can get up to 50 armor, and your underlings don't do very much damage. 25 damage. 20 damage, 45 damage, 33 damage. See, they like don't even really hurt heroes, so you really gotta have your heroes to battle them, or like a tank will damage them too. So here I just do another mass to kind of like get guys in the way. See how they open it up, and the heroes level up when they get kills. As you can see, his level's going up, and he upgraded his armor. So here I put the Dark Swarm down. I'm going to try to get in it and be able to kill this wall. I actually almost killed Gimli there. So Legolas dies because he was way too aggressive. And now see, they bring in swordsmen and their melee units. And one way to deal with that is Saruman's best ability is this isn't Dark Storm, this is actually just a regular storm. Saruman's best ability is his hallucination. That part's mislabeled. And basically what you do with hallucination is, it's a StarCraft 1 ability. It's not the same as the Sentry in StarCraft 2, it's different. You instead you click the ability or press C, then you click on the unit you want to hallucinate. So the best why it's so good is because you hallucinate their strongest dude, and it creates 2 hallucinations. And you do that a whole bunch of times. It costs 35 energy, and you can have up to 275 energy. So you can create quite a few hallucinations, and then that traps their heroes, so they can't melee you, or you can trap them and then use your ranged units to kill them. And that's what I do right here. So they got way too aggressive, so I killed Gimli and I kill... Oh, I didn't get Humor. Oh wait, that's my hallucination humor. Yeah, I didn't get Humor, but I got Gimli. And that's a huge deal, getting the heroes.
Our allies are being attacked.
So another thing, you kind of have your own base here. You have these defensive towers, which are sunken, or not sunken colonies. They are spine crawlers. And they do like a lot of damage, and that kind of just prevents them from attacking you, because they're not really supposed to attack you. But you have this evil heal, and if you have injured units, you can bring them here and they'll become fully healed. As you can see, they just kind of like teleport over there. If you lose all of these spine crawlers, your heal actually dies. But that really never happens. So you can heal there. The enemies, they have these things for healing. They go into them and then they heal. As you can see, they did that with these because they almost died when they attacked. So you can see here, I just used my mass again. It's the observer. What I do is I hotkey all of my heroes. I hotkey this observer. I hotkey Saruman. I hotkey the Wormtongue. Then I put these in one group, the Stalkers in one group, and I put the Ultralists in one group. And then I also put all of my Hydralisks in one group, and I also hotkey all my tanks. I use a lot of hotkeys. But there's also these buttons, you can't see them because of the replay things covering it up. But there's buttons to click, and that's basically a hotkey for your hero. So here now I'm finally able to, the heroes are finally backing off, so I can use my Dark Swarm. I used the Green Wormtongue, I placed a Dark Swarm right here, which should give me, Saruman should have enough range to hit this main gate from there. And I'm also bringing my Stalkers up there, the Elite Urukai. So I just need to move him forward enough to target this. So see, now he's shooting this, and Saruman does a lot of damage. The gate has almost 10,000 health, but he does 500 damage and his weapon speed is 1.4. One thing when you're doing this, you have to make sure you're out of range of this boiling oil. And you can kind of barely hit this thing without being in range of that. Because this boiling oil is a flame attack, so it does do damage into Dark Swarm. These things can't do damage in Dark Swarm because they're ranged weapons. So I'm killing the wall. A lot of times Lugdush will help killing the wall. He also does a lot of damage and he can upgrade. A lot of times Lugdush will help you. Sometimes he helps the brown guy though. So after you kill that wall, as you can see I moved my master up to here. After you kill this wall, your next objective is to kill the Great Hall. And typically they'll put up a big defense here, and you just kind of have to mass into it and kill all their stuff. And a lot of times you'll need to use Dark Swarms and use like your Urukai captains and Elite Urukai to kill them. I also see here I move my tanks up to do this. And since as you can see all these ladders, that's because the Overseers made it to the ladder placement. So if you bring units to this, they'll go up here, or here they'll go up here. I'll show you that later. So as you can see here, this is a pretty typical defense. They'll have all of their, these used to be Goliaths from StarCraft 1. And then they'll have a bunch of archers, and then they'll usually have heroes in front, like this guy. He has 50 armor, so they basically use these guys to soak up the damage, and then when they get low, they'll go and heal. As you can see, he's getting low, so he's going to go heal. And when they go heal is when you have like your big opportunity to get in there and do damage. See, he kind of got distracted over here because I brought guys up the ladder. I'm bringing all these guys up to the ladder. So they go up the ladder, and you can kind of get flanks off of that. As you can see, I'm bringing all these roaches, trying to get a flank on them. You got to be careful because these things can die really fast from tanks. But a really nice thing about these stalkers is, just like in the regular game, they call it pursue, but it's just blink, but it has a very long cooldown. So they have blink, and I just blink them away. Normally you wouldn't be able to go down this, but since they have blink, they can just blink away. If the Hydralisks would have been up there, they would have just been stuck because you can't go down ladders. Like all these guys, you can't go down. And as you can see, I got a new spawn because after so many guys die, you get a new spawn. And since they tried to attack all my guys up there, it really gave me a big opening. It made them get out of position, and now I can do a lot of damage. And really, with my mass, I basically just use this observer most of the time. But when they get close, I will sometimes target fire specific units. Like I target fired all of his Goliaths, or most of his Goliaths. I try to target those because they do a lot of damage, 150 damage or 175 damage. And if you get rid of those, you get rid of a lot of their damage. It's kind of one of their important defenses units. So you can also bring catapults up ladders, which is, you know, it's kind of funny, but you can do it. And I usually try to get these in position, and it kill this a lot faster with it. And here I target these Goliaths. Their catapults do 200 damage, and yours only does 100 damage. And theirs has a little bit more HP too. I think they have more armor. They have 5 more armor.
Our allies are being
So I usually just, you know, bring these closer as I'm massing to do more damage. As you can see here, I use hallucination again. That was just in case they decide to attack these tanks. There'd just be these 2 fake ones taking the damage, as you can see. So I'm just killing this. You can use the Dark Swarm, like on the gate, and your heroes. Or you can just use your... What I usually do is I use my Hydralisks and then attack this behind my army as my army takes hits, and then as soon as my army is about to die, I move my Hydralisk back. So you can see here, this guy is really aggressive normally. People aren't that aggressive, but he is, and he's trying to kill all my tanks. I really don't care that much because I get more every spawn. I think I get 4 more. It's either 2, probably 2 more every spawn. And I don't really... My only use for him is kill this, but I don't really care. I'll gladly lose some tanks to his, you know, Riders of Rohan dismounted, which are very important units, and he doesn't get those back. What he gets back is he gets more of these regular longbowmen. They spawn right here, and he gets regular swordsmen that spawn right here. But after you kill this, they don't get those spawns. So yeah, he's being aggressive. I'm making some hallucinations of my elite Urkai to just soak up some of the damage and kind of fool them. Hopefully trying to trap them is what I'm trying to do. See how I move my observer over here. So here's a real one. I targeted down that, and then I just blinked away. So as you're killing all this stuff with, your job is really to kill green, and brown's job is to kill blue, which you can see he's kind of doing right now. And typically, by the time the timing usually is supposed to work out, is you will be killing this thing, and you'll just finish killing this thing when brown just finishes clearing out this area up here of blue. And then brown will come in from this way and have to kill this gate, and then you'll come in from this way and have to kill this gate. So we're hitting about the same timing right now, so far. So it's a lot of times green will put tanks up here to try to defend this. And when you're purple, you really have to pay attention to these lines. You don't want to move like your heroes into these lines because they'll just die from tank fire. So I'll just speed up a little bit. You can see here there's still 31 minutes left. This is StarCraft 2 time, it's not real time. So if you're playing faster, if you're playing normal it will be real time, but if you're playing faster it's faster than regular time. So I killed this, now they don't get reinforcements. Yellow's coming to help me. You can kill the pylon and it'll unpower the cannons, but it's kind of hidden under that thing, so it's hard to do. I used my Hydralisk to do that, like I was talking about earlier. So now, after I kill that, my next objective is I have to kill this right gate. I can also kill the left gate, but that's really Brown's job.
Our allies are being
And a lot of times, what will happen is blue and green will be defending back here instead of just green, because blue will usually retreat most of his best units from over here to here. Usually he has tanks, as you can see right here, he has tanks. He has his heroes. Blue can escape. This is a secret passageway. Brown can't use it, but blue can. And he teleports from here to here. These medics, they can't actually move them. I don't know why, but they heal each other really fast. You need heroes to kill them, but you don't need to worry about that if you're purple. So you have to be kind of careful because they can snipe your tanks from this high ground. His hero ghosts, they have snipe abilities, and they can snipe. They actually have a really insane range on their snipe. It's like, say his ghost is right here, he can probably snipe all the way to here. It's like longer than a tank range for this snipe. So you have to be really careful with your heroes against snipe because they can just snipe from really far away. So typically for killing this right gate, I will move some tanks here to do extra damage, but they're typically not going to kill it. What's going to kill it is Hydralisks, and you really want to save your Hydralisks. As they spawn, I think you get 2 every time. You want to keep saving your Hydralisks until you get a huge group of them, and it kind of becomes overpowered. See, they're going and killing my tanks. I don't really care, that's just going to leave more room for my Hydralisks actually. So I have my big spawn is moving in and absorbing all of this damage, and then my Hydras are going to come behind it as these guys take the hits, and they're going to attack this right gate. So I'm target firing this right gate, and I am doing a lot of damage because they're just shooting all these front units and not... See, they are hitting my Hydralisk some, and I try to avoid that, but... Dark Swarm does not protect against tanks, so it's... In StarCraft 1, they only did splash damage under Dark Swarm. I'm not sure if it's the same in this or they do full damage, but they do so much damage that it's like not even worth doing in Dark Swarm against tanks. You just kind of got to use your Hydralisk behind your army as a buffer. So I got it down to the orange.
Our allies are being attacked.
So as you can see here, Brown made it up to his wall. He's attacking his wall. At the same time I'm attacking we're attacking each other's gates. So I'm using my Hydralisks. And see how I have my observer placed right here? That's because as soon as I kill this gate, I want to rush my army in and try to maybe pick off some of these tanks. Because these tanks are really, once you get the good guys pushed all the way back to here, these tanks are really important for them because you have to run your army through these choke points. So they're really good defensive. So if you can pick off any of those, that's really good. Alright, so I'm using my Hydralisks. That little turret thing, that was a special ability from Theoden. He has a fortify ability. It's basically throwing down an auto turret like the Raven does. It's not great, but it's something they can use for defense while they run away. So I killed this gate. Brown didn't kill his gate yet, but he will. And after I kill this gate, either I can help him to kill this. He's telling me to use Dream of Wormtongue to kill the gate, and I say just kill it the way I killed it. Use your Hydralisk behind the thing. It's easier to do. So after I kill my gate, I can either help him kill this one, or I can go straight to this one. This is like, you don't have to kill both gates, you can only kill one if you want. Typically you'll kill them both. So the next objective is kill this gate. And they kind of set up a defensive position outside of the gate. Some people do that, some people are behind it, but they did outside of it. So the main thing you have to worry about here are these Colossus. They do a ton of damage, 325 damage. Versus Heroic, they only do 215. I mean, it's still a lot. But the thing about them is their range is insane. It's like, it's almost as long as a tank range. Range 11. This tank is 13, yeah. See, she tanks are 13, these are 11. They do a ton of damage and they kill things really fast. They'll kill your Hydralisk in 2 swipes, and they'll kill your tanks in 1 swipe, I think. So he's using Eomer here, because he has freaking 50 armor and basically doesn't even get damaged. You can see it's going down really slowly. He used all Hydralisk to kill that. So now that we're coming in from 2 sides, they'll typically retreat in here. It's really dumb for them to stay out here when they can get flanked from the side. So they'll move inside the gate now. You can see here, I'm purposely manually moving all these paths to try to trap this guy, so I can snipe him with my Hydralisk. I sniped Eomer here, and I try to snipe this, but I don't. He basically sacrificed Eomer to save this guy, and that was foolish because Eomer's better. He has 50 armor, and this guy only has 30 armor. But he probably didn't try to do that, it just happened. So always try to be sniping heroes if you can, because that's basically their main defense is heroes. So you can see here, Brown is attacking this. You can put up tanks to the... I always bring my tanks here, and I snipe like this bunker. This is a typical spot for Green's tanks, either here or here. So you can usually have free range for your tanks right here. You typically don't want to put your tanks right here and try to attack their tanks, because your tanks only do half the damage, and they basically won't have a chance against their tanks. They'll die. And so basically the first thing you have to do to kill this gate is get rid of these high archer towers, which are the Colossus. You can see here I just sent in some hallucinated Ultralisks just to, I don't know, scare them. They kind of moved their army to go kill them, but they were fake. They can move these civilians, unlike those medics. So one thing, your end objective is to kill all these civilians, and one thing that Green can do is they can hide them places. So make sure you're kind of on the lookout for hidden civilians, because if you get in here and kill all these ones, but they have like one hidden way back here that you never killed, you might lose because, you know, if the time is really close. So we killed our Colossus, the defending Colossus, and now we're trying to get through this gate. Right now they have it lowered. They should probably raise the gate. and I'm sure they'll do that soon. One thing I do is I move tanks. If a tank is right here, it won't be in range. Well, we killed that really fast. Lugdush actually killed that. A lot of times you'll have to use stalkers or hydralisks to kill it, and you can either have your army in front of it and have them take the damage, or you can use the Dark Swarm. Same way as the other things, basically. So after you kill that, typically this is where the good guys will set up their defense. Sometimes they'll set it up right here, but it's typically right here. And this is really the hardest part to break, because you have this really narrow choke right here. It's really narrow. And when they have other tanks here, they'll just do a massive amount of splash here, and everything will instantly die. Usually the good players target fire right here with their tanks, because everything will die. And then they'll have heroes in front here. They'll have heroes in the front, and those will absorb the damage, and then they'll do like they normally do, is they'll bring their heroes back to here when they get low to heal, and then bring them back. And this is normally, this part right here is really hard to break. It's really hard to break their defense here, because they'll usually have a lot more heroes left. But since they were so aggressive with their heroes and they lost them, they won't have as good of a defense here. It's the sacrifice they made. So at this point, a lot of times you'll both have your observers here to mass your army. You and Brown will. Ugluk and Saruman. And they'll both kind of take the same path. It's not really a big deal, because the choke, you'll have this. You can have Brown go this way, but the end choke is going to be right here anyways, so it's not a big deal if Brown goes this way too. But just constantly be massing your army. As you can see, as soon as my army got low enough where I could get more, I instantly massed it. So one way, usually they have their defense closer up here, and you'll move tanks here to push that back, and then you'll have hydralisks here to protect the tanks. That didn't really happen this game because they were pushed further back. But as you can see, these tanks have the range here, so we put our tanks just out of that range. Anything that comes up here will die, but they're already pushed back. So we're basically just gonna break this just using our mass, because they already lost all their good heroes, and they're not even putting their heroes in front. But typically, it's really hard to break this, and you'll need a combination of hallucinations, which I typically hallucinate. I had Brown bring up Ugluk and Snaga, and I hallucinate them, and then I send them in, and they'll absorb a bunch of damage as your other guys go in. So it's hard to use Hydralisks because they have these tanks here, and they'll just target fire Hydralisks and kill them. But basically what you have to do is you have to use Dark Swarm, you have to use hallucinations, and you have to use your heroes all at once, and just kind of target fire their heroes and their tanks. And another thing you have to be really careful about is you can't just mass your army up here, because all of these guys, especially roaches, they'll stop and shoot. And what you want to do is just bum rush in there. So basically, all of your hydralisks that get stuck right here, you'll select them and manually move them closer. And basically, a lot of times what people do is they'll just select as much of their army as they can and just right click them in here, and then have their heroes following, all these hydralisks following and attacking, and then their army will soak up the damage, and these hallucinations will soak up the damage, and then these guys will deal the damage. So you can see all these guys are just kind of running, and they're soaking up damage, and then they're dealing the damage. And that's how to break it. This game, it looked easy, but typically it's not this easy. So all we really have left to do is kill these 5 civilians. Another thing you can do when you're the evil army is they'll have like their defense set up here, and there will be like a pathway. You can try to run, like, if they don't have a lot of heroes, Ugluk has a lot of armor. He has 65 armor. So you can just run Ugluk by, well, or you can run your Ultralisk by. They don't have as much armor. But you can run units by, and then like run by their army and kill these without having to kill their entire defense. And if you run by, because all you have to do to win is just kill these civilians, you don't actually have to kill their entire defense. So that's one thing to keep in mind, is look for opportunities where you can just sneak your units by and then kill their civilians. Sometimes when the time gets really low, that's like your only option. This time we had plenty of time. We were obviously just gonna win. But there's things you can do like that. So this thing has a guardian shield. The guy that was laying the force fields, I think that was a different hero. He's dead now. So that's basically it for Saruman tutorial. Another thing you can do with Saruman, if you trust the person, is you can share control with Yellow, which is Lugdush, so that he doesn't get his. If he helps you, he'll have his units, his Lugdush hero, in with your like your mass, and sometimes he can get stuck and pushed by your mass. So if you share control with him, he can move them out of the way, and he won't lose this Lugdush character because it gets swept into a defense or something. That's another thing you can do, but you can also do that with Brown if you want. But if it's just like some random person that you don't know and they might not be very good, I really don't recommend doing that, because they'll like grab your army and try to play for you or do something stupid with it. But so basically, I'll just give a quick overview again. Your units spawn here, you kill the gate, you kill this hall, you kill the second gate, you kill this gate, and then you kill the civilians and you win. And that's my tutorial for Saruman. I'll probably make more later for the other characters like Ugluk and Lugdush, and then the good guys like Rohan and stuff. So hope you liked it. If you did, comment and favorite and thumbs up and stuff. See ya.